When you think Burlington, do you think global capital of milk chocolate production? Me neither. But in 1917, that was the plan. And this huge brick building complex and the south end of Burlington is all that's left. We're getting the full story today on Across the Fence. Hello, Vermont. I love a good history story. And if it involves chocolate, all the better. This one today ticks all the boxes. War, speculative bubbles, a pandemic, even an explosion. Plus, chocolate. And all right here in Burlington, less than a block from my house. I mean, really, what more could you want? To tell the story, I am joined by Tom Visser, UVM Professor of Historic Preservation, who is an acclaimed and prolific chronicler of the built environment of Burlington, Vermont, and indeed, New England. Tom Visser, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thanks for the invitation.
I am very, very glad to have you here. All right, so let's quickly set the stage. How did Burlington end up in the center of this global story?
Well, it's really quite a surprise, we'll put it that way.
Okay.
What started with a pitch from a company based in Massachusetts, the Massachusetts Chocolate Company, they came up here in 1917 with the idea of engaging some local investors to build a factory here in Burlington to make milk chocolate. And
what were the attributes of Burlington that were appealing to them?
Well, yeah, this is a great question because, I mean, Burlington at that time, of course, so was really...
I think Burlington's great, but still, yeah.
No, but it was a manufacturing center.
Manufacturing center, yeah.
We've got the woolen mill in Winooski that had been here for generations. There's the cotton mill down at Lakeside, so there was textile manufacturing going on. A wide range of other industrial activities going on, especially along the waterfront.
Yeah.
Easy
It made
access.
sense.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. So the investors, they drum up enthusiasm. They come up to Burlington. What happens?
Well, they made the pitch at the Hotel Vermont and some of the investors kind of, shall we say, took the bait. And one of those investors was a John J. Flynn, who we know, of course, from the Flynn Theater.
Flynn Theater, right.
And he was a large...
and Flynn Avenue.
Flynn Avenue,
Okay.
yes. At the time, Flynn Avenue was called Park Avenue.
Right.
And Flynn owned a good parcel of land right at the corner of where the train tracks went through. So,
Right across the street from where City Market is.
Exactly,
Yeah. Okay.
exactly. And right by the new Southern Connector Highway that's just, so now we can really see the site.
Yes.
So anyway, the local investors, including a number of fairly, shall we say, deep-pocketed, famous names, people living on the Hill and connected with a number of the Burlington banks and so on.
They all get behind this.
They got behind it. And so the whole plan then was to build a factory right here in Burlington where this milk chocolate could be manufactured and shipped out to the world.
To the world. Okay, and so February and March 1917, what happens?
Well, the context is there's World War I is raging.
Yes, right.
At that time, when they started, the U.S. had not formally entered the war, but the developers recognized that there was this potential to sell chocolate in Europe, especially because the European manufacturers were not able to get the supply due to all the wartime issues.
Right. Okay. So chocolate is important. There's a big booming market for it, they think. They've got the land. They've got the Massachusetts Candy Company in saying, okay, we're ready to help out with this. And so the blueprints are drawn and construction begins.
Indeed.
Okay.
They hire a firm in Boston to design this big factory.
Okay.
The factory work gets underway.
And they get some good cocoa contracts too, right?
Huge cocoa contracts,
Yeah.
purchasing the cocoa beans through a Brazilian firm, and it's made, the cocoa is actually grown on the island of Sao Tome, which is off the African coast. At that time, cocoa beans from that source were being shunned in Britain, especially by the manufacturers, because of this long history of, shall we say, slave-like labor conditions there. and that then
This was not a deterrent to these American investors.
Well,
no.
the price was right.
Price was right. Well, and they spent about $1 million on these cocoa, and at the time, I mean, that's about $25 million today. So everything is moving. They've got the cocoa. They've bought some cocoa beans. It's moving along. April 1917. What happens?
So the factory is going along. They get the factory up and running, and then
the war, right?
The war is starting,
and that changes everything, because now with soldiers, and I think we have that. I don't know if we just saw a picture of soldiers marching down Church Street. So now this is changing all of the dynamics in Burlington, because we've got labor shortages, there's construction shortages. This is a little bit tricky, right?
Well, indeed it is. I mean, because suddenly now there are shortages of materials. The transportation, the rail network is clogged with other activity. And so things get a little bit tricky, if you will, to construct this factory. Nevertheless,
it's still humming along.
Yes.
Because we've even got like a power source for it too, right?
Well, this is one thing that's really amazing about this. This is one of the first big factories in the Burlington area that is using hydroelectric power to run the machines.
Yeah, here we go. There's a wonderful picture then. That's Winooski, right?
Well, that's the Winooski River. It's at the gorge there.
Okay.
So it's upstream from Winooski Falls.
Okay. So we've got orders. We're going to be sending chocolate to Belgium. The factory is coming online. And then there's a big catastrophe.
Well, that's it. Just when everything starts to move ahead, just when the first orders are going out, one evening, all of a sudden, there was a huge explosion.
Oh my gosh.
And the fire started to spread through the factory.
Which
the
is
workers,
brick, but wood as well.
It's a brick building with slow burn, heavy timber framing.
Okay.
And the workers were unable to put it out.
Yeah.
The fire spread. Several of the workers died in the inferno, and the investigation really started to ask questions about whether there had been sufficient water supply to actually put out what started as a small fire. And so, anyway, that's
what I find so amazing about this. And if you've done any construction in Burlington, is that it doesn't end there, and in fact, actually, really quickly, by summertime, construction is back underway.
Well, that's it. I mean, there was a huge mess that had to be cleaned up. And then...
and the lingering water issue. But
the lingering water issue.
Everything.
So basically, the company made a deal with the city, and the city agreed to run a new water line down Pine Street all the way to the factory site, because the company said, hey, unless we have a new water supply, we can't open it up. The insurance companies wouldn't let us.
Yeah. So there's so much momentum still. They managed to go ahead and rebuild the factory. They have the contracts. They didn't lose all the cocoa beans in the explosion. So we still have resources to work with. And then another catastrophe hits in August. What happens?
Well, then yes, it arrived in Burlington on board a load of petroleum coming up Lake Champlain. Influenza, the so-called Spanish flu, arrived here in Burlington, and within weeks there were just hundreds and thousands of people who were very, very seriously ill. The hospitals were overwhelmed, and virtually nobody could go to work because of this influenza epidemic.
That's incredible. Okay, so things are still not looking good, but then business is optimistic because the armistice is signed in 1918, right? I mean, so water pipe is installed down Pine Street. Walker, I think, has plans. He's going to expand the factory to Europe and China. So basically, everything is moving forward.
Everything looked great for a while. Once again, the war was over. Sure, the second factory, built by the Keesler Construction Company of Burlington, was up and running. Walker, who was the general manager from the Massachusetts firm, was in the press all the time. One of the big issues, though, was housing. Worker housing. And there were many, many complaints, especially on the part of workers, about accommodations and tight living quarters.
So we're starting to get some labor unrest. And is this when things start to unravel? Because 1919, things really do start to unravel. And the war is over and just sort of everything is different, right?
Well, this is it. This is it. Suddenly, the troops are coming back. There's a lot of unemployment. It was a very hot summer. What happened was that the workers in the wrapping department, who were mainly women, there was this rumor that their pay was going to be cut. They were getting paid piecework, and there was rumors that they were going to get cut. And so a group of them said, "What's going on? What's going on?" And so there was a kind of a misunderstanding, and it led to an altercation, and that was enough, and then a strike.
Amazing. Okay, so basically this humming enterprise that has had so much momentum is now starting to unravel. So there's a strike, and by the end of 1920s, it's essentially all over.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Suddenly, the demand for the chocolate dropped.
Yeah.
The supply of materials became very, very tight. It wasn't just the cocoa beans; it was also sugar. There was a vast global shortage of sugar after the war was over. And so, and it wasn't just the chocolate factory here in Burlington that really cut down on production. Many of the other businesses and factories also went down into this period of economic decline.
So rapid rise and fall, and then but what happens to the building? Because the building is still there.
Well, the building was
there
there
next to me. Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
and so there was a lawsuit. And basically, there was a lawsuit where it started by the Massachusetts company was suing the Vermont company. They took him to federal court, and through that court case, what they ended up with was the largest settlement on behalf of a Vermont firm. And instead of the funding going from the Vermont firm to the Massachusetts firm, it was the other way around. The courts found that the Massachusetts firm had been, shall we say, cooking the books quite a bit. And so there was a huge award given to the Burlington investors. But the chocolate era was over.
Yeah.
So it was adaptive reuse for the building.
Adaptive reuse was then the future of the building. So in 30 seconds, what do you think went wrong? Were the Vermont investors just too gullible?
I wouldn't say
Was the
gullible.
story too sweet? Did they buy?
There was an opportunity there.
Yeah.
But like many things, it's within the context of what's going on globally.
Yeah.
And so, but I think the message here is resourcefulness.
Yeah.
The way that factory site has been adapted for so many uses, and today it's such a wonderful hub of activity.
I know, and if you go down to City Market, any of those shops, things like there's a coffee shop in there now, you can go and see some of the architecture yourself. So that was hardly enough time to do this story justice, but Professor Visser, thank you for joining me. You did a marvelous job. As always, Vermont, thank you for learning and exploring with me today, and thanks to the team that makes Across the Fence possible. I'm Amy Finley. This is Across the Fence. Come back and let's learn and explore again tomorrow.